Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am showing you two very simple cards that I have made for the latest Lawn Fawn challenge. The first one is using the adorable little mice with a bit of a baking scene, and the second one is just this super simple card with the sentiment as the focus. So getting started here, I'm just cutting out my card fronts, one for each of my cards. I cut them from a thick digital paper, which is much cheaper than cardstock, and I use all the excess offcuts to stamp my images. For this first card, I'm picking the mice from a few different sets, and I'm using some of the pieces from the Baked with Love set. I'm surprised I haven't brought these images together before because I'm a little obsessed with that baking set, and these little mice, I just want to use them in every card. I'm really surprised that I haven't put them together before. Here I am just stamping them out with some black ink. I don't show it in my videos because it takes twice as long to show, but I do stamp them out twice. This is so that my images are nice and crisp and those black lines are super clear. For my background for this one, I'm using some Wilted Violet Distress ink and a little bit of just the excess ink that was already on my brush. So although these stars might look all the same colour, they kind of have a bit of a gradient to them. I have a thing for rounding the edges of my card fronts at the moment. I think maybe it just neatens things up a little bit, so I went ahead and did that here. Here I am just colouring in my little mice with some of my alcohol markers and some of my Copics. Just before I get on to finishing off my background, I'm just showing you what sparkle cardstock I'm using. It's one of the Lawn Fawn black cardstock pieces from, I think it was their fall set. And here I am just adding a bit of shimmer to my background with my gold watercolour pigments using the white gold. For my sentiment, which is meant to be the star of this card, I use my Oliver Stitched ABCs for the words trick and treat. For the word or in the middle, I used an older set of dies that I had. I kind of wanted it to be a little bit different, and looking at it now, it was almost too similar to these stitch dies. I know it looks different, but I think maybe the sizing is what's throwing me off. If I had to make this card again, I would probably just stamp the word or would find something that is much smaller to really emphasize the fact that they're different fonts. As the sentiment is meant to be the star of this card, and really the only thing on the front of this card other than the little mice, I decided to put some little foam squares on the back to give these words some dimension. It was then time to create my scene and stick down my little mice. Although this card was looking really cute, I felt like it wasn't quite Halloweeny enough, so I stamped out some of these tiny little candy corn pieces from one of the trick-or-treat sets. I cut them out and then I stuck them on the cupcakes and felt like this was the look I was going for. What do you think of candy corn? Do you like it? I have tried it once, and I remember when it first came to one of the international lolly shops close to my house, we rushed home to try it, and it was not what we expected. I think we were expecting maybe a hard candy, I'm not sure, but it's really sweet, really, really sweet. And honestly, the texture not reminds me, I can't say I've ever done it, but it would be what I imagine eating a candle would feel like. It has the weirdest texture. I can't say that I am a fan. And here we go. My card is complete. That's enough of my weird stories. So here is my first card, all finished. I love those little mice. I can't believe I haven't used them with the baking set before. I think they turned out really cute. On to the next card. This one I wanted to keep really simple, so I'm using this tiny little trick-or-treat set that I've had for a long time but haven't given a lot of love to, and I'm using the sentiment for that. For my background, I simply used some gold splatters from my gold watercolor pigments, and I'm going to stamp that little sentiment right on top of that. Once that was done, I went and rounded my corners again because it just seems to be the thing that I'm doing at the moment. I cut some of the spring sprigs, that tiny little die set, using some really dark grey cardstock and some of the black sparkly glitter cardstock that I used in the first card as well. I wanted to place them in a wreath formation, so here I am just working out my placement for that. I actually glued the dark grey ones upside down because I wanted them to go in one direction and the sparkly cardstock to go in the other direction so that it looked more full and a bit less organised and neat. I made sure I tucked the very end into the piece that went down before it so that you couldn't see where the dies started and ended. And here I am, just stamping out the little creatures, more candy corn, and this cute little bat. Once they were stamped, I coloured them in, just using that super simple technique of using 2 markers to colour each of them in. And then of course everything got cheeks and little white details on them too. Now this set is quite an old set, so I bought it back when I was purchasing the matching dies as well. So it was super easy to cut out. I just used my matching dies for them and then used some foam squares on the back. I then attached them to my wreath. To add just a little bit more colour and sparkle to this card, I used the little circles from the Spring Sprig die set to cut out those tiny little circles out of some of the purple sparkly cardstock and added them sporadically around the wreath. To adhere my card front to my card base, I just used some double-sided tape. And after removing the backing, I stuck it down to my card base. And there we have it, my second card complete for this challenge. Let me know in the comments which one was your favourite. Do you like the one with the mice, or do you like the super simple wreath card? Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe so that you can join me for more videos soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!